The prison transport shook as it docked with Station 7. Sat in the corner of the holding cell, her wrists bound with energy cuffs that hummed against her skin. She was 17 years old, small even by human standards, and covered in bruises from the guards who had thought it was funny to push around a child. The Empire called this place the Blood Arena, called it what it really was, a death sentence wrapped in entertainment. The transport doors hissed open. Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor, kept her eyes down but watched everything through her peripheral vision. 6 guards all, their scales gleaming under the harsh lights. The lead guard was bigger than the others, with scars across his face that spoke of old battles. "Get up, human," he said. His translator made his voice sound bored. Stood slowly. She was shorter than all of them by at least 2 feet. To them, she probably looked like a child. That was fine. Let them think whatever they wanted. The guard captain, whose name badge read, grabbed her arm and pulled her forward. His claws dug into her skin, did not react. Pain was just information. Information told you how hard to hit back when the time came. They marched her through the station, counted doors, exits, guard stations, cameras. She noted which guards looked nervous and which ones looked cruel. The nervous ones might hesitate. The cruel ones would not, but they would also make mistakes because they enjoyed their work too much. The arena complex was massive. Through the windows, could see the main fighting pit below. It was circular, maybe 200 feet across, with weapons scattered around the edges and bloodstains that had soaked into the sand. Seats rose up in tiers all around it, easily holding 10,000 spectators. Right now it was empty, but could imagine how it would look filled with aliens cheering for death. "You know what this place is, girl?" asked. He was smiling, showing his pointed teeth. "Yes," said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "You know what happens to criminals here?" "Yes." "And you still killed a citizen?" Laughed. "What were you thinking?" Finally looked up at him. Her eyes were brown, plain, unremarkable, but there was something in them that made smile fade just a little. "He was hurting children," said, "so I stopped him." "He was a slave master. Those children were his property. You murdered him." "He was rapping a 6-year-old," said, her voice still quiet. "I broke his neck. I would do it again." Backhanded her, his head snapped to the side, but she did not fall. Blood filled her mouth. She swallowed it and looked back at him. "Tough little thing," said. "Let us see how tough you are tomorrow. First match is at dawn. 16 condemned, all in the pit together. Last one standing gets to live another day." He leaned close. "I give you 5 minutes before someone rips you apart." They threw her into a holding cell with the other condemned prisoners. The cell was large, maybe 30 feet square, with stone walls and a single barred window. 15 other beings were already there, all different species, all waiting to die. Found a corner and sat down. She did not look at anyone. She controlled her breathing and started mapping the room in her mind. The door was solid metal with an electronic lock. The window was too small to fit through. The other prisoners were the immediate threat. A shadow fell over her, looked up slowly. That was huge, nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and skin like concrete. He had killed before. Could see it in the way he moved, the confidence of someone used to being the biggest thing in the room. "You are in my spot, human," the said. "There are other spots," said. "I want this one." Stood up, the top of her head barely reached the middle of his chest. Around the cell, the other prisoners were watching now. This was how it worked in places like this. Establish dominance early or become prey. "Find another spot," said. The reached for her with 2 of his arms. Had fought before, back on Earth during the colony wars. She knew they were strong but slow. She knew their joints bent in ways they did not expect you to exploit. She moved. Her first strike hit this left knee from the side, hyperextending it. He started to fall. Grabbed his descending right arm, twisted her whole body, and used his own weight against him. The arm broke at the elbow with a sound like snapping wood. The screamed. Did not stop. She drove her knee into his face twice, breaking his nose and jaw. Then she grabbed his second right arm and broke it at the wrist. The entire encounter took less than 10 seconds. The lay on the floor, moaning, cradling his broken arms, looked around at the other prisoners. No one moved, no one spoke. "This is my spot," said. She sat back down. The other prisoners gave her space after that. Some looked scared, others looked calculating. One, with blue skin and too many eyes, watched her with interest. Did not care what they thought. She only cared that they left her alone. Hours passed. The guards brought food, protein paste that tasted like metal, ate all of it. She needed energy for tomorrow. She drank all the water they gave her too. Dehydration would slow her down. As night's cycle began and the lights dimmed, allowed herself to think about how she had ended up here. The colony on Refuge 9. The slave traders who had come in the night. The children screaming. The overseer with his hands on a little girl who reminded of her sister. Had been hiding, waiting for a transport off-world. She could have stayed hidden. She could have survived. But she had heard that little girl screaming and something inside her had broken. Not her will, her hesitation. All the fear and caution that had kept her alive had burned away in an instant, and she had moved. By the time the other slavers had arrived, the overseer was dead and was covered in his blood. The children had run, hoped they had made it somewhere safe. She had let the slavers take her without a fight because she was tired, and part of her did not care anymore what happened to her. Now she was here. Tomorrow she would fight 15 other prisoners. The crowd would cheer for blood. The guards would laugh and make bets. Closed her eyes and breathed slowly. She thought about Earth, about gravity 3 times stronger than most worlds, about air so thick with pollution you could taste metal, about wars over water and food and space to live. Earth made you hard or it killed you, had grown up hard. Tomorrow they would see what it could do. Tomorrow they would learn what happened when you put a human child in a cage and told her to fight. Had killed before, she knew how. She knew where to hit to make someone stop moving and where to hit to make them stop breathing. The courts had called her a murderer. They were right. But had killed to protect children who could not protect themselves. That made all the difference, at least to her. She opened her eyes and looked at the ceiling. Somewhere above, in the luxury boxes, the wealthy aliens who owned this place were probably sleeping in soft beds. Tomorrow they would watch children kill each other for fun. Dawn came too quickly. The cell door opened and guards flooded in, weapons ready. They separated the prisoners and marched them toward the arena, walked in the middle of the group, watching everything. The roar hit her first, 10,000 voices screaming for blood. The sound was like a physical force pressing down from all sides. Had heard crowds before during the public executions on Earth, but nothing like this. This was organized. This was entertainment. The holding tunnel was dark and smelled like fear and old blood. Through the gate ahead could see the arena floor bright with artificial sunlight. The sand was red. Some of it was natural color, most of it was stained. Arena Master stood on a platform above the gate, his scales polished to shine in the light. He wore expensive robes and looked down at the condemned with the expression of someone who owned them, because he did. 16 enter, his voice boomed through speakers. 1 leaves, the rest feed the sand, entertainment for the glory of the Empire. The crowd cheered louder. Let the blood games begin. The gate opened. The prisoners were shoved forward into the light. Stepped onto the sand and immediately moved to the right, putting her back to the arena wall. Around the circular pit, weapons lay scattered. Crude swords, clubs, spears, axes. Nothing sophisticated. Nothing that would make the kills quick or clean. The other 15 prisoners spread out. Some ran for the biggest weapons. Others formed groups, temporary alliances that would last until they needed to break them. The with the broken arms was not among them. He had died in the night from his injuries. The guards had laughed about it. Walked calmly to the nearest weapon pile. She took a metal pipe about 3 feet long and solid. She took a combat knife with a 6-inch blade. She left the swords and axes. Those were for people who wanted to look dangerous, wanted to be dangerous. Charged her from the left. He was 10 feet tall with skin like rock and 4 arms holding 2 massive clubs. He was fast for his size, but was faster. She dropped low, rolled under his swing, and drove the pipe into the back of his knee. The joint shattered. As he fell, moved to his side and drove the knife into his throat, right where the translator implant created a weak point in the natural armor. Blood sprayed across the sand. First killed 10 seconds. The crowd screamed approval. Pulled the knife free and kept moving. 2 were fighting near the center, both with swords. She ignored them, let them tire each other out. A female with blue skin and 4 eyes came at her from behind, heard the footsteps and spun. They had 4 arms and held a knife in each hand. She was quick and trained. They circled each other for 3 seconds. Then the lunged, 2 knives with the pipe ducked under the other 2 and drove her own knife into the stomach. The alien gasped, twisted the blade and pulled up, opening the wound. The fell. Second kill, 20 seconds total. His breathing was steady. Her heart rate was elevated but controlled. Earth gravity had made her strong. Earth wars had made her fast. Earth's brutality had made her willing to do what was necessary. 3 prisoners all had formed a group. They saw and recognized threat. They charged together, trying to overwhelm her with numbers. Ran, not away, toward the arena wall. She jumped, planted one foot on the wall, pushed off, and twisted in midair. The lead ran past where she had been, landed on his shoulders, and drove her knife down into the base of his skull. He dropped like a stone. The other 2 turned, grabbed the fallen's axe, and threw it. The blade buried itself in one's chest. He staggered back, choking on blood. The last swung at her with a club, blocked with the pipe, felt the impact shudder through her arms, and stepped inside his reach. She drove the knife into his armpit where the armor plates separated. He screamed and dropped the club, kicked his legs out from under him, and finished him on the ground. 5 dead, 30 minutes gone. The crowd was getting louder. Some were chanting something did not care what they were saying. 8 prisoners remained besides her. 2 were still fighting each other. The other 6 had started to realize the pattern. The small human girl was the most dangerous thing in the arena. A male with expensive armor, probably a noble who had committed some political crime, pointed at and shouted to the others. They started to move together, forming a loose circle around her. Counted exits, counted weapons, counted heartbeats. 6 on 1, bad odds for most people, had survived worse. The first one rushed and took his legs with a low sweep of the pipe. He went down hard. She stomped on his throat before moving on. The second came from behind, felt the displacement of air, and dropped flat. A sword passed over her head. She rolled, came up inside the attacker's guard, and put her knife through his eye. 4 left in the group. They were more cautious now. They spread out, trying to surround her. Let them think they were succeeding while she positioned herself near a spear rack. The noble shouted an order. They all attacked at once. Grabbed a spear and threw it in one motion. It caught one attacker in the chest and pinned him to the arena wall. She spun with the pipe and broke another's jaw, then his knee, then caved in his ribs while he was falling. The noble rushed her with a sword, blocked with the pipe, twisted, and disarmed him. His sword flew across the sand. Did not pick it up. She did not need it. She hit him in the throat with the pipe, crushing his windpipe. He fell, choking, trying to breathe through a collapsed airway. One attacker left from the group. He was backing away, hands up, trying to surrender. "Please," he said in broken standard. "Please, I give up." Looked at him, then she looked up at the viewing boxes where sat. The arena master was leaning forward, watching with interest. He made a gesture, thumbs down. "No mercy." Turned back to the prisoner. He was crying. "I am sorry," she said. And she was, not sorry enough to spare him, sorry that they were both here, sorry that the galaxy was a place where children fought to the death for entertainment. She made it quick. He did not suffer. 8 dead total, 55 minutes gone. 3 prisoners remained besides. 2 were still fighting each other near the center of the arena, 2 focused on their own battle to notice how quickly had killed everyone else. The last was a young, maybe 18, who had backed into a corner and was holding a sword with shaking hands. Walked toward him slowly. She was covered in blood now. Her clothes were soaked with it. Her face had spray patterns across it. She knew how she looked, like death itself. The young raised his sword. "Stay back." "Stop 10 feet away. Drop the sword and surrender. You can live as a slave." "I will not be a slave." "Then you will die." "Better than being a slave." Nodded. She understood that. "Make it good then, die fighting." The charged with a scream, met him halfway. Their weapons clashed 3 times. He was not bad. He had some training, but had survived 3 years of Earth's colony wars. She had killed to protect her family when she was 14. She had learned to fight from soldiers who measured their lives in days. She disarmed him in 4 moves and drove her knife between his ribs. He gasped and looked down at the blade, surprised. "You fought well," said quietly. It was true, he had tried. He died without speaking again. The 2 prisoners at the center had finished their fight. The winner, a massive with skin, stood over his opponent's body and roared at the crowd. Then he turned and saw. They were alone in the arena now, 1 human girl and 1 warrior. The crowd went silent, waiting. "That was smart." He picked up 2 swords and approached carefully, watching for tricks. Stood still, breathing slowly, calculating. He was big, strong, experienced, but he had just fought a hard battle. He was tired. Could see it in how he moved, the slight drag in his left foot, the way he favored his right side. He attacked with both swords, trying to use his reach advantage. Gave ground, letting him advance, letting him think he was pushing her back. She blocked and dodged, never staying in one place, never letting him pin her down. Then she saw her opening. He overextended on a thrust, his weight too far forward, stepped inside his guard, trapped one sword arm, and drove her knife into his armpit. He roared and swung with the other sword. Rolled under it, came up behind him, and cut the tendons in the back of his knee. He fell, finished him quickly. Expected them to take her back to the holding cells, let her rest, let her wounds close and her muscles recover. That was how the arena normally worked. Fight, rest, fight again the next day if you survived. But had other plans. The gate opened and guards approached cautiously, weapons raised. Dropped her knife and pipe and held her hands up. She was not stupid. Fighting now would just get her killed. They put her in energy cuffs but did not take her from the arena. Instead, they made her stand in the center while medics cleaned her wounds and sealed the worst cuts with spray bandages. The crowd watched every moment, their cheering never stopping. Descended from his viewing box to the arena floor. He walked toward with 4 bodyguards surrounding him. He stopped 10 feet away and studied her like she was an interesting animal. "Remarkable," he said. "Absolutely remarkable. Do you know what you have done, human?" Said nothing, her throat was dry. She needed water. "You have given me the greatest show this arena has seen in 20 years. The crowd is wild for you. They are placing bets on your next fight." He smiled, showing pointed teeth. "They want to see more." "I need rest," said. Her voice was rough. "You will rest when I say you rest. Right now you will fight again." Looked at him. That was not the deal. Survivors get a day between matches. "I am changing the deal. You will fight now or you will die now. Choose." Wanted to fight him instead. She wanted to kill him and his guards and everyone in this building. But she was cuffed and surrounded and exhausted. So she did what she had to do to survive. "Who am I fighting?" Smiled wider, "Professionals." The gate on the opposite side of the arena opened. 5 beings walked out. These were not condemned prisoners. These were arena champions, fighters who had chosen this life because they were good at killing and enjoyed the fame and fortune it brought. The leader was unnamed. He was bigger than the one had killed, with ceremonial scars across his chest that told how many victories he had won. Over 100. The others spread out around him. A female with twin swords, a with 4 spears, a with weighted chains, a human male. Stared at the human. He was older, maybe 30, with prison tattoos and dead eyes. He carried a machete and a shield. "You said you choose to fight here." The human spat on the sand. "I choose to live. Arena pays better than anything else." "You fight other humans for entertainment." "I fight anyone they put in front of me, just like you." Felt something cold settle in her chest. He was right. What was the difference between them? Both were killers, both survived by violence. The guards removed cuffs and tossed her new weapons. A spear and a shield, basic equipment, fair equipment. Wanted a good show, not an execution. The 5 professionals spread out, forming a wide circle. They moved like a team, communicating with small gestures. They had fought together before. Planted the spear in the sand and held only the shield. She needed to conserve energy. Fighting 5 fresh opponents while exhausted meant picking her battles carefully. Spoke in a deep voice that carried across the arena. "Surrender now, child. You fought well against condemned criminals. We are not criminals. We are hunters. You are prey." "I am not prey," said. "Everyone is prey to something." The female attacked first, fast and silent. Blocked with the shield and letting the female's momentum carry her past. Did not counter. She was saving her strength. The threw a spear, caught it on her shield, and the impact knocked her back 2 steps. Before she could recover, the chains wrapped around her shield arm. The pulled, trying to drag off balance. Let herself be pulled forward, then dropped and rolled. The chains loosened, slipped free and grabbed the spear from the sand. The human male came from her left, blocked his machete with the shield and thrust with the spear. He dodged back. They exchanged 3 quick strikes, testing each other. "You are good," he said, "but you are tired." "Good enough," replied. charged, threw the spear at him. He blocked it with his armed guards, but it bought her 2 seconds. She used those seconds to position herself near the arena wall, preventing them from surrounding her completely. The fight became a rhythm. Attack, block, retreat. Strike, parry, sidestep. Fought defensively, making them come to her, making them waste energy while she conserved hers. She took small cuts and ignored them. She focused on breathing, on staying light on her feet, on watching all 5 opponents at once. The female got impatient and rushed in alone, had been waiting for that. She trapped the female's sword arm with her shield, stepped inside her guard, and drove her knee into the female's stomach. The female doubled over, brought the shield edge down on the back of her neck. The dropped. First kill, the crowd went wild. The other 4 became more cautious. They stopped attacking individually and started working together. The N attacked from opposite sides while the human male and moved to flank her. Had to give ground. She was being herded toward the center of the arena where she would have no wall to protect her back. She needed to break their formation. She threw her shield at his face. He flinched and raised his arms to block, sprinted toward him while he was blind and grabbed one of his spears. She turned and threw it at the spear went through his shoulder and pinned him to the ground. 2 down, 3 to go. Was bleeding from a dozen small wounds now. Her left arm was going numb from a chain strike. Her right leg had a deep cut that slowed her movement, but she was still standing, still fighting. The human male circled her carefully. You could join us, you know. Stop fighting condemned prisoners and become a champion, make money, live well. Living well built on death is not living at all, says the girl standing in 8 corpses. I killed them because I had no choice. You kill because you want to. We all make choices. He attacked and met him. They fought for almost a minute, blade against improvised weapons, training against experience. Was faster, but he was stronger. She was more desperate, but he was more skilled. Then made a mistake. She overextended on a block and he scored a deep cut across her ribs, gasped and stumbled back. The human male pressed his advantage, driving her back toward where waited. His vision blurred, blood loss, exhaustion, pain catching up to her. The human male raised his machete for a killing blow. Dropped flat and swept his legs. He fell. Before he could rise, was on him, fighting with raw desperation. She got his machete away from him and drove it into his chest. He looked surprised. I had a choice, whispered. So did you. He died choking on his own blood. Stood slowly, her whole body shook. She could barely hold the machete. Around the arena, the crowd was screaming, but it sounded distant, like she was underwater. And the remained. The had pulled the spear from his shoulder and was advancing with murder in his eyes, walked beside him, calm and patient. Impressive, said. You have lasted longer than I expected, but this ends now. You are finished. Wanted to argue. She wanted to tell him he was wrong, but her body was telling her he was right. She was running on fumes and willpower. The charge tried to dodge, but her leg gave out. She fell. The spear came down toward her chest. Rolled, and the spear buried itself in the sand where she had been. She grabbed it with both hands and pulled, using the own strength to yank him forward. He stumbled, drove the machete into his thigh, cutting the major artery. He fell, bleeding out in seconds. Pushed herself up, was the only one left. He studied her with something like respect. You should be dead. Any other species would be dead, but you refuse to quit. Quitting means dying, said. Everything dies eventually. Not today. They fought. Was the best fighter had ever faced. Every move was precise. Every attack flowed into the next. He did not waste energy. He did not make mistakes. But had grown up on Earth where gravity crushed you and pollution poisoned you, and war taught you that rules were for people who could afford them. She fought dirty. She threw sand in his eyes. She used every trick she had learned in 3 years of survival. And when tried a high strike, confident in his superior strength, dropped low and cut the tendons in his ankle. He roared and fell to one knee, moved behind him and put the machete against his throat. Yield, she said. The crowd went silent. Laughed. It was a deep, genuine laugh. You are something special, human child, I yield. Stepped back, would live. He had fought honorably and deserved that much. But the crowd wanted blood. They booed and hissed, stood in his viewing box, face twisted with rage. Kill him, ordered through the speakers. No mercy in my arena. Looked up at him, he surrendered. I do not care, kill him or face punishment. Looked at who was watching her calmly. He had accepted his fate. This was the arena, death was always the end. Raised the machete. Then she threw it its viewing box. It shattered the reinforced glass. Guards scrambled to protect the arena master. No, said clearly, no more today. She stood in the center of the arena, surrounded by 4 corpses, covered in blood, barely able to stand. The guards surrounded the arena entrance with weapons raised, but none of them moved to enter. Stood in the center of the pit, swaying slightly, waiting. Blood dripped from her hands. Her breathing came in short gasps. She looked half dead. But she had thrown a machete at and shattered his viewing box. That made her dangerous in a different way. That made her someone who did not care about consequences. Guard captain shouted orders from the control booth above. Get in there and restrain her, now. The guards looked at each other. No one moved. I said now. One guard, a young named, spoke up. Captain, she has killed 13 beings in 2 hours. 4 of them were professional arena champions. We go in there, some of us are not coming back. She is wounded and exhausted. 10 of you with shock weapons can take 1 human girl. Then you go first, Captain. Silence fell. His face darkened with rage, but he did not move from his safe position in the control booth. Watched this exchange with dim awareness. Her vision kept blurring. She had lost a lot of blood. The spray bandages had sealed the worst wounds, but she needed real medical attention. Food, water, rest. She also needed to stay standing. The moment she fell, they would rush in. Weakness invited attack. That was universal. Appeared on the arena floor, but he stayed near the gate, surrounded by 6 personal guards with heavy armor and weapons. He was furious. His scales were flushed dark with anger. You dare defy me in my own arena, he shouted. You throw weapons at me. Looked at him but said nothing. Talking required energy she did not have. You will die for this, slowly, painfully. I will make an example of you. Smiled, it was not a happy smile. Come do it yourself then. Took a step forward, then stopped. Because had picked up a spear and was holding it ready, her hands shook. Her stance was poor, but her eyes were clear and focused. The arena master realized something. Was dying on her feet, but she could still kill 1 more person before she fell, and that 1 person might be him. He turned to his guards. Bring her out, use nets and shock weapons. I want her alive. The guards moved slowly into the arena, spreading out. They carried net launchers and electric stun rods, non-lethal equipment designed to capture without killing. Counted them, 12 guards. She could maybe kill 2 before they took her down, maybe 3 if she was lucky. But she was not feeling lucky. The first net launcher fired, dodged, but her injured leg gave out and she fell. The net caught her left side, pinning her arm. She rolled and cut through it with a knife she had picked up, but 2 more nets landed on her. Electric current ran through them, making her muscles seize. Screamed. It was the first sound of pain she had made all day. The guards rushed in with stun rods. They hit her repeatedly, driving her down into the sand. Fought back with everything she had left, but it was not enough. Her body would not obey her anymore. They dragged her from the arena floor, tried to stay conscious, but darkness was pulling at her. She heard the crowd booing. They wanted more death. They were not satisfied. Stood over her. Put her in maximum security, medical treatment, but nothing for the pain. I want her to feel every moment. Managed to look up at him. Children, she whispered. What? The children I saved, worth it. Then she passed out. She woke in a cell, not the holding cell from before. This was different, smaller, darker. The walls were reinforced metal and the door was triple locked, maximum security just like had ordered. Tried to sit up and gasped in pain. Her whole body was one massive bruise. The cuts had been sealed, but healing would take weeks, maybe months. A medical droid hovered in the corner, its sensors tracking her vital signs. It had treated her wounds, but had followed orders about pain medication. Every breath hurt. Every movement was agony. Hours passed, days maybe. Time was hard to track in the dark cell. The droid brought food, paste, and water, forced herself to eat even though her stomach rebelled. She needed to heal, needed to get strong again. On the 3rd day, the cell door opened. Entered with 4 guards, he looked pleased with himself. You have become famous, little human. The video of your fights has spread across the galactic network. Everyone is talking about the girl who killed 13 beings in 1 day. Said nothing, she sat against the wall watching him. I have decided to make you an offer. Fight for me, become a professional arena champion. Win enough fights and you can earn your freedom. How many fights? 100. That will take years. 5 years if you fight twice per month. You survive, you go free. You die well, at least you die famous. Thought about it? 5 years of killing for entertainment. 5 years of being a monster so people could cheer. It made her sick. But it was better than execution. Conditions, said. Raised an eyebrow. You think you can negotiate. You want me to fight, I have conditions. I only fight criminals or volunteers. No slaves. No innocents forced into the arena. Agreed. Did not believe him. His agreement came too quickly, but she nodded anyway. She needed time. Time to heal, time to plan, time to figure out how to escape or destroy this place. One more thing, said. I fight when and how I choose. You try to force me into matches I do not agree to, I will refuse. You send guards after me, I will kill them. His face darkened. You are in no position to make threats. Yes, I am. Your guards are afraid of me, I saw it. They did not want to come into the arena even when I was half dead. You send them after me again, they will hesitate. That hesitation will get them killed. The arena master studied her for a long moment. Then he laughed. You are right. They are afraid of you. It is pathetic, but true. Very well, you fight who you choose when you choose, but you must fight at least twice per month or our deal is void. Agreed. Turned to leave, then paused. One question, human. Why did you spare? You killed everyone else without hesitation. Why show mercy to him? Looked at her hands. They were still stained with dried blood. He fought with honor. He deserved honor in return. Honor does not exist in the arena, only survival. You are wrong. Honor is all that separates us from animals. Left without responding. Was moved to a better cell after that, larger with a window and real bed. They brought her actual food instead of paste. A physical trainer came to help her recover. The message was clear. She was valuable now, an asset to be maintained. She spent 3 weeks healing. During that time, she learned about the arena's operations. The trainers told her about the schedule. The guards gossiped about matches. The other fighters talked about their victories. And listened to everything. She learned that not all arena fighters were volunteers. Some were prisoners of war. Some were slaves bought specifically for arena combat. Some were children raised from birth to fight. Had lied, of course he had. Also learned about the human diplomatic delegation on the station. Commander Jake Torres was leading negotiations with the Empire over trade agreements. He had heard about his case and was working on legal appeals. But legal appeals took months, maybe years, did not have that kind of time. On the 21st day of her recovery, had a visitor. A small girl, maybe 8 years old, brought her food tray. She was thin and had bruises on her arms. What is your name? Asked. The girl's voice was barely a whisper. You work in the arena. Yes, I clean the cells and bring food. How long have you been here? 4 years, since they took me from my family. Felt something cold settle in her chest. They took you, you are a slave. Nodded, not meeting sighs. Do you know about the fighters, the ones who die in the arena? Some are slaves like me, taken young and trained to fight. They say we have no rights, we are property. Reached out and gently lifted his chin so the girl was looking at her. Listen to me carefully. What I am about to tell you is important. You are not property. You are a person. You have rights even if they do not recognize them, and I promise you I am going to get you out of here. Eyes filled with tears. You cannot. The arena is too strong. The guards are too many. I killed 13 beings in one day. I can handle some guards. But they will kill you. Smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had decided to do something terrible and necessary. They can try. After left, began planning. She had 3 weeks until her next scheduled match. 3 weeks to prepare. 3 weeks to learn every detail of the arena's layout and security. 3 weeks to decide exactly how she was going to burn this place to the ground. Because it made a promise to a child, 3 weeks became 3 months. Fought 6 matches during that time, all against criminals or volunteers who knew what they were signing up for. She won every fight. The crowd loved her. They called her the Human Storm. They chanted her name. Hated every second of it. But she smiled and waved to the crowd because that was part of the plan. She needed to trust her. She needed the guards to become comfortable with her presence. She needed everyone to think she had accepted her role. Between fights, she talked to. The girl brought her meals and they would sit together, speaking quietly. Told her about the other slaves in the arena, the children being trained to fight, the workers forced to clean blood from the sand, the ones who disappeared when they became too old or too injured to be useful. Memorized every name, every story, every injustice. She also talked to other fighters. Who she had spared became something like a friend. He told her about the arena's history, about the guards' shifts and patrol patterns, about the secret ways through the station that maintenance workers used. Commander Jake Torres sent messages through official channels. He was making progress with appeals, he said. The human government was pressuring the Empire. It might take another year, maybe two, but could be free legally. Sent back polite responses thanking him for his efforts. Then she continued planning her rebellion. The opportunity came during 13th fight, had arranged a special event. Versus 5 fighters, all volunteers according to the paperwork. The crowd was huge, over 15,000 beings packed into the arena. Wealthy aliens from across the galaxy had come to see the famous girl. Entered the arena and looked at her 5 opponents. 2 of them she recognized from descriptions. They were not volunteers. They were slaves, trained from childhood, with explosive collars around their necks that would detonate if they tried to refuse. The other 3 were genuine arena fighters who had chosen this life. Made her decision. The gate closed. The crowd roared, stood in his reinforced viewing box, watching with greedy eyes. Walked to the center of the arena. She did not pick up any weapons. She just stood there looking up at. The arena master frowned. Begin the match. Spoke, and her voice was amplified across the entire arena through the microphone system. No. Silence fell. 15,000 beings went quiet. What did you say? Demanded. I said no, I will not fight these people. 2 of them are slaves with bomb collars. They did not choose this. You lied to me. You agreed to fight who I chose. I agreed to fight criminals and volunteers. These are neither, so I refuse. The crowd started murmuring. Some were confused. Others were angry they would not see a fight. A very few, looked interested in what was happening. His face turned dark with rage. You will fight or you will die. Those are your only choices. No, there is a third choice. Turned to address the crowd directly. My name is, I am 17 years old. I was convicted of killing a citizen who was wrapping a 6-year-old child. I killed him to protect that child and others he had enslaved. The courts call me a murderer. They are right. I am a murderer. She paused, letting that sink in. But I only kill to protect people who cannot protect themselves. I have fought 13 matches in this arena. I have killed or defeated 29 opponents. And I just learned that this place, this arena that you all come to for entertainment, uses slave children, takes them from their families, forces them to fight and die for your amusement. The murmuring grew louder. Some in the crowd were shouting denials. Others were leaving, uncomfortable with the truth being spoken. Continued. 2 of the fighters in this arena right now are slaves. They wear explosive collars. They will die if they refuse to fight. So I refuse for them. I will not be part of this anymore. Was screaming orders now. Guards, get in there and kill her. Kill all of them. Empty the arena. The gates opened. 30 armed guards rushed in. The 2 slave fighters looked at with wide eyes. One was a young female, maybe 16. The other was a male, barely 20. Both were shaking. Stand behind me, told them. I will protect you. The 3 volunteer fighters looked at each other, then at the approaching guards, then at... One of them, a veteran named, stepped forward. I did not know about the slaves, said. I thought this was honest combat. It is not, said. Then I stand with you. The other 2 volunteers hesitated only a moment before joining them. 6 fighters against 30 guards. Impossible odds, suicide. Smiled. The guards attacked. Met them with everything she had learned in 3 years of war and 3 months of arena combat. She fought like she had never fought before, using weapons with devastating efficiency. But she was not alone, and the other volunteers fought beside her. Even the 2 slaves, freed from the immediate threat of their collars detonating during a match, picked up weapons and defended themselves. The arena became chaos. Guards fell, fighters fell, blood soaked the sand. Took a spear to the shoulder and kept fighting. She broke her left hand, punching through a guard's helmet, and used the injury to make her next strikes faster, sharper, driven by pain. She was not trying to survive anymore. She was trying to make a point, to show everyone watching that this place was wrong, that slavery was wrong, that killing children for entertainment was wrong. And she was willing to die to prove it. Then something unexpected happened. The crowd started cheering for. Not all of them, maybe not even half, but enough. Enough beings in that crowd saw what she was doing and understood. They saw a girl fighting impossible odds to protect 2 children. They saw courage, sacrifice, honor. The guards started falling back. They had signed up to control prisoners and watch fights. They had not signed up to die fighting a who refused to quit. Pressed forward, bleeding from a dozen wounds, using her last reserves of strength to push towards viewing box. Then the shooting started. Human soldiers in combat armor came through the upper access tunnels. Commander Jake Torres led them, his weapon raised. He had been monitoring the arena feeds. When started her rebellion, he had decided to act. "Cease fire," Jake shouted in Standard. "By authority of the Galactic Council and the Human Federation, this arena is shut down. All guards drop your weapons." The guards, already demoralized and terrified surrendered immediately. Fell to her knees, her strength finally gone, caught her before she hit the ground. "You are insane," said, but he was smiling. "Maybe," whispered, "but they will remember this. They will remember that someone stood up." Jake reached her moments later. He knelt beside and checked her injuries. "You should be dead." "Probably, but I had promises to keep." "Promises?" Looked toward where and other child slaves were being led to safety by human soldiers. "I told them I would get them out. I keep my promises." The medical team arrived and started treating injuries. She drifted in and out of consciousness as they worked. She heard fragments of conversation. The arena was being shut down permanently, was under arrest. The Empire was facing massive sanctions. And the slaves were free. Woke in a human medical facility 2 days later. Her body was covered in bandages and attached to machines that monitored her healing. Jake sat beside her bed, reading reports. "You caused a diplomatic incident," Jake said when he saw her eyes open. "Sorry," said. She did not sound sorry. "The Empire is furious. They are demanding your execution for rebellion and destruction of property." "What did you tell them?" "I told them to go to hell. You are a human citizen defending innocence. We are taking you home." Closed her eyes. Home. She had not thought about Earth in months, did not know if she even had a home to return to. "What about the others, the slaves from the arena?" "We got them all out. 43 children, 18 adults. They are being processed through refugee programs. They will be placed with families or support services depending on their needs." "Good." "Asked about you. She wanted to know if you were alive." "Tell her I am fine. Tell her she is safe now." Jake was quiet for a moment. "The video of your fight has spread everywhere. You are famous. People are calling you a hero." "I am not a hero. Heroes do not kill 29 people." "You killed slavers and criminals. You saved children. That makes you a hero in my book." Thought about all the people she had killed. The ones who had deserved it and the ones who had just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. She thought about the noble who had cried before she killed him, about the human male who had just wanted to survive. "I am a killer," said. "Maybe I killed for good reasons. Maybe I saved some people, but I am still a killer." "So what will you do now?" Was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "What I have always done, protect people who cannot protect themselves. Someone has to. The Human Federation military could use someone with your skills, training, tactics, teaching others how to fight." "I will think about it." 3 months later, stood outside the demolished arena on Station 7. The structure was being torn down, every piece of it destroyed. A memorial was being built in its place, honoring all who had died in the Blood Games. Stood beside, holding her hand. The girl had been placed with a family but had asked to visit one last time. "You kept your promise," said. "Yes. Thank you." Knelt down to Slevel. "You do not need to thank me. What I did was just right, just basic decency. Most beings would not have done it. Most would have saved themselves." Then most beings need to be better. Hugged her, hugged back, careful of her still healing injuries. When left with her new family, stood alone at the memorial. She read the names of the dead, so many, too many. But also the names of the saved, 43 children who would grow up free, 18 adults who could rebuild their lives. Commander Jake Torres appeared beside her. Your transport to Earth leaves in 3 hours. You ready? No, but I never am. For what it is worth, you did the right thing. Did I, or did I just make myself feel better while people died? Both can be true. The universe is complicated like that. Looked up at the stars through the station viewport. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning, her home, her starting place. I am not going back to Earth, said suddenly. What? I am going to accept the military position, training, teaching. I can do more good that way. Jake smiled. I was hoping you would say that. The Federation needs people like you. People like me, killers. Protectors, Jake corrected. There is a difference. Thought about that as she walked toward her new future. Maybe he was right. Maybe there was a difference between killing because you enjoyed it and killing because someone needed to be protected. Or maybe she was just trying to justify what she had become. Either way, the girl who had killed 8 beings in hour 1 and made even guards fear the arena by hour 2 was done fighting for entertainment. Now she would fight for something that mattered. And somewhere in the galaxy, in places where the strong preyed on the weak, beings would hear her name and remember. Remember that do not quit. Remember that humans protect their own. Remember that when you threaten children, you face the consequences. Had been condemned to die in the blood arena. Instead, she had killed the arena itself. And that made all the difference. And she kept her promises. 2 hours had passed since she first entered the arena. 13 beings were dead because of her. And now, even the guards feared what she might do next. Silence fell over the arena. Stood alone among 8 corpses. Blood dripped from her hands. Her breathing was still steady. She had known it would come to this. One way or another, she had known. The crowd erupted, but did not hear them. She was looking up at who was staring back at her with an expression she could not read. Surprise, greed, interest. 1 hour had passed since the gate had opened. Had killed 8 beings. And somewhere deep inside, in a place she did not like to look, wondered if she was becoming the monster they said she was. His hands clenched into fists. The energy cuffs had been removed when they put her in the cell. Her hands were free now, small hands and calloused but free. Tomorrow at dawn, they would give her weapons and tell her to survive. Intended to do more than survive. She intended to make them regret ever bringing her here.